everyone, and welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we are wrapping up the month of February in my reading journals. I'm so glad that you're here for a second wrap-up video in 2026, but if this is your first one, welcome. This video is where I just go through all three journals that I have in rotation for this year and fill in a whole bunch of stuff. As you can see, I flipped through a few pages at the beginning there, and we've moved straight onto my Days Read Pixel. This is one of my favorite things to track every month and see the trends that are forming. Obviously, it's a little too early in the year to tell what days are going to be quite particular for certain aspects, and my reading did slow down a bit more over February to the level that I was kind of hoping for the start of the year. I read a total of 10 books in February, and it's very much so showing on the graph pixel here, the pixel chart, that with the yellow being 1 book read per day and pink being 2, that I obviously stopped reading multiple books per day and just sort of focused on 1 book at a time, which was a really nice way to do things. So Days Read Pixel is now done, and the Read the Rainbow had 1 book added to it, and now we can finally work on my A to Z challenge. I wanted to start this last month, but I printed out the covers in the wrong size, so this time around I spent a lot of time making sure I had the right sizes, and I get to fill this in, which is very exciting because I really like how it looks, and I'm definitely going to be doing this again next year in my reading journal for 2027. This was a new format for me. I normally just do a list, and I like this a lot more, and I hope you do too. So for my A to Z challenge this year, I'm doing authors. I alternate between book titles and then authors, and so this year was an author year, and I'm using the last name for each author as they get put into the boxes that represent the letter. So I am really happy with how I started out for wrapping up February, because I did this on March the 1st. I was so happy that I got it done so quickly. Normally it takes me about a week to work myself into this. There's a lot of moving particles when it comes to doing a wrap-up video for me, at least. I have to print out a lot more covers now than I used to because my way of planning has changed this year, a lot more visual guides, and I'm loving that, but it does mean there's a lot more calculations and making sure that everything fits on the page that I'm printing out and all that. So I am really enjoying this new change, and I'm so glad that so many of you commented who saw my January wrap up with the feedback that I really wanted. So we'll talk about that when we get to the February section in the journal. We're still in those core front pages, collection pages. Now, this is the monthly theme spot, and admittedly, I don't like how this looks, but I had run out of all the bakery stickers, and these were the only ones left. So I used a bit of the paper from when I was setting it up, and then I had a spoon, a mixing spoon, and a rolling pin. And I wish that I had stuck with the original way that I put it down. I think it might be too long now for me to go and change it. We'll see. Maybe I can gently lift them up. But I did end up changing it to a way I'm not hugely fond of. So perhaps I need to go and try and edit that a little bit. Essentially, the monthly theme is where I'm just putting down bits that I have left over to represent what that theme was. So I had a sweet pink bakery theme, and we were covering the book Mixed Signals by BK Borison. But here's where I went wrong. I should have just lifted the ladle part of the spoon, or the spoon part I should say, and let the rolling pin go down underneath. Now it looks silly, but that represented the bakery theme, and we can move on. I didn't actually read the book club read for whatever end in February. The trigger warnings were something that I just didn't want to sit well. It didn't sit well with me. I know it's a fantastic book. I am an absolute wimp. So I also forgot to print out the cover. So I will be doing that in my March wrap up. It is the Poet Empress that we had for book club, and everyone loved it. So I'm so glad everyone did. But yeah, that's me. I sit out on things where I feel like I'm not going to gel well, and I have a really good friend, my co-host in the book club actually, who will be like, hey, this is probably out of your comfort zone. So I was very appreciative of the people that did that for me. So yeah, we're on to the February cover page here. I completely mind blanked on what we were doing, and I'm chucking down the covers of the books that I read. So as you can see, I read 10 books. Most were most were romance or like romantasy, and I had a bit of a mixed experience. There were 4 books that I really, really enjoyed. One of them was a reread. I reread First Time Caller by BUKE person and really enjoyed it. I listened to it this time around, so that was fun. In preparation for book 2, and spoiler alert, I've read that in March and absolutely loved it. I loved it more than book 1, and it's currently my favorite book of the month, I think. Well, considering I've only read 2 books, it definitely is. I've just realised that. Can you tell that I'm exhausted? So anyway, the other books that I really, really enjoyed was Well Travelled by 𝓤𝓲𝓷𝓭𝓮. That was book 4 in the Well Met series. I enjoyed A Grave Mistake by Stephanie Holmes. And I also really, really enjoyed The Lies That Summon the Night by 𝓘𝓽𝓮𝓷𝓼. That was my top read of the month. It is absolutely fantastic. It is now out. I was reading it as an ARC, but I was actually behind. And it was, just absolutely fantastic. Please look into it if you are a romantasy or dark fantasy type reader. This was so good, and I don't want to give too many spoilers away. I think I talked about it in another video actually, about how in this particular world art is a sin, and I would be a sinner because I'm so into crafting and doing arts and stuff like that. So really, really interesting magical system. And it has the typical tropes of romantasy in there, but like it's well written that I didn't mind too much. Here I am working on the reading log. I've put down all those covers and now I'm faffing around with stickers. I am so grateful to all of you who gave feedback. Like I mentioned, this particular section last month, it looked not great. And I was trying to figure out where to put these stickers, and I mentioned perhaps I should put them where I am right now, and everyone in the comments was like, please put them there. That is the most logical spot to put them. So that is where they're going. I absolutely love it. And I'm loving my little ARC stickers as well. So I did spend some time practicing my cursive writing. I don't have the greatest, but sometimes I go through stages where I want to try and practice it. And I just decided that that would go well with that theme. So that's why I did it. We've now moved away from my main reading journal for 2026 and we're into the Reading Data Journal. And if you're new here, this is a journal that spans more than 1 year. I have this global portion at the start here, which is my series tracker. And then I have a whole section for 2026 that we'll flip to. And I am so proud of myself because one of my goals for 2025 was to get through some series and I didn't really do it. Instead, I added a whole bunch more series to my list. And this year, my focus is again to try and finish off some series. And technically, I only finished 2, but at the time, I finished 3. Now, let me tell you why that has happened. So I thought I'd finished the Well Met Quartet, and then I was on Goodreads and found out that there is a book 5 coming this year, which I'm very excited for now that I know. But my excitement over finishing yet another series was very short-lived. But the good thing was I only added 1 series to my list in February as a new series, which was the 𝓘𝓽𝓮𝓷𝓼 book. I can't wait for book 2. So I think I'm doing well there with my series counting and trying to get through them. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this looks in a couple of months. Here is me colouring in the ones that are finished. So I finished Written in the Stars by Alexandra Bellfleur. I finished Blood and Tea by 𝓚𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼. And yeah, I would have finished 𝓤𝓲𝓷𝓭𝓮's quartet, but now that I know that book 5's coming, I have something to look forward to. This is my own TBR, another global portion section. I just tick off when I've read something. I'm going to add 2 books here. I was on a book buying ban until the end of March. I was gifted these. Some of you may have known that I really wanted to get my hands on Agnes Albert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett earlier than my book ban was over, and Carney, my best friend, brought it for me. So very, very happy about that. Now, onto my goals section. Let's be honest. The read at least one book from my Kindle backlog per month is going swimmingly well, and I'm being sarcastic right now. I have not done it in the last 2 months, and I said to myself, oh, well, I failed in January. If I read 2 in February, then I've caught up, kind of thing. I don't think that I can go into March and be like, oh, if I read 3 and so forth. It's just, yeah. Why is it such an unattainable goal for me? I'm not sure why. Perhaps it's because I read too many arcs. Technically, I'm reading books off my Kindle backlog. It's just my arc backlog. So we'll have to see how that works out. Yeah, I'm not very optimistic at this point. I am flipping through very fast at the moment, and I do apologize. I have decided to leave the color keys much smaller this time around, simply because I am going to put 2 on the screen at once, as you can see, because I keep flipping back between the 2 pages. It's very clear on the pages as well what color represents what, but I am loving this new system of using the box per book instead of having each book mapped out and then having to color it in correspondingly. Working out so much better, and it's much faster to get through. I used to take so long to do those pages. We're now onto the yearly stats section, and this is my big omnibus table. I love this thing. I grabbed the wrong pen, so here's me finding perhaps the right one. I still can't remember if it was that one, and I'm hopeful that I'll remember which one that is when it comes to March. That is my biggest problem, and I really need to remember to write these things down of what pen I'm using at the start of each year, so then I can continue it through. I think it's this one though. And this is just where I jot down everything that happened in the month of February against what the categories say. As I mentioned, I had another reread in February, so I'm writing that down. I did not DNF anything again for the 2nd month in a row, which is a big thing for me. So it means that I'm either picking the right books or I'm persevering and not enjoying them. So there's a bit of both happening, I think. And then the social stats section is, for me personally, I'm showing it because it's in the process of filling it in as I'm going through the book, but it's not something that I feel like is necessary to talk in depth with everyone online. I did talk about why I was having it in my setup video, and that's about it. So as you've seen enough now, there have been quite a few repetitions of the covers of the books that I read, and I mentioned the ones I really enjoyed. We're about to make a mistake here, and I do fix it, you'll see in a minute. But the ones that I didn't enjoy were quite hyped up. So I had 2 2.5 star ratings in February. One of them was a very hyped up book. It was Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. I'm so gutted I didn't enjoy this one. I really liked the world vibes, and I really liked the main male protagonist. I liked the whole aspect around the house. If you have read this book, you will understand what I'm talking about. But the main protagonist, Ophelia, has absolutely no character development whatsoever. There's no character growth. She drove me insane. So I actually buddy read this with a very dear friend of mine that I've met through Instagram. It was our first time buddy reading together, and we both had the same experience and feelings. So yeah, it was a good time. I was really enjoying myself reading it with my friend and having our really good discussions around it. Jess was amazing, and if she watches these videos, I don't know if she does, I had so much fun with you. Yeah, just the shame that it wasn't a great book for us. And then the other one was book 2 in the Blood and Tea, or is it Tea and Blood, whichever order it goes in, by 𝓚𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼, A Steeping of Blood. This book I wanted to read because there was one particular character in book 1 that I really enjoyed, and I wanted to give the series conclusion a go, because whilst there are so many plot holes in book 1, I had a good time reading it. Again, I buddy read that. Well, actually it was a book club read, and I really was hopeful that this book would redeem the series for me. Unfortunately, it ruined it. And yeah, I don't want to go into spoiler type details, but the things that happened were very needless, and I did not feel comfortable. And I I spent a lot of time listening to it because I listened to the audiobook. I did have it as an ALC. And then I forgot to listen to it last year, so I was getting back to it. And yeah, I did not enjoy myself. So we'll leave it at that. But here we are on the February particular stats page that I like to do just as a visual guide and have it all in one place. I do repeat information, I do know this, but it's actually helpful for me in particular ways that I use this book. And we're going to be doing one more of these pages and then a quarterly stats. And so these pages come really in handy at that point. So as you can see, I cut out some headers there. I was not happy with last month's attempt. And I had a lot of people tell me that they did enjoy the header. So I did continue to stamp it in. I decided that cohesion was correct way for that, but I did not like the rest of the format. So I decided that I would print out the headers. I had enough space down the bottom of my sheet of sticker paper to do this, and I really like that. It's so much cleaner, and it was easier to set up. I also utilized my stencils a bit. I did the tiny circles that I like to use for my color keys, and it just looks so much cleaner. When you get to that point of the video, you'll get what I mean. But since we are looking at the stats page, and I have it right in front of me right now, I'll get into the details for those who like stats as much as I do. So I read 10 books. That equated to 3,704 pages read. My average was 3.7. I listened to 10.8 hours of audiobook, and last month I listened to 35.4. So you can see where I really slowed down. I had 4 ARCs. I didn't DNF anything, as I mentioned. I had 6 library hires that I completed. I had 8 books that were part of a series. 2 were standalones. 1 buddy read. I did not participate in book club. I had 2 hauled books, and I didn't unhaul any books in February. My favorite read was The Lies That Summon the Night by 𝓘𝓽𝓮𝓷𝓼. And as I mentioned just now, my least favorite was A Steeping of Blood by 𝓐𝓯𝓯𝓲𝓼. My star ratings, I had 2 5-star reads. 1 was a reread though. Then 1 4.5-star read, 1 4-star, 3 3.5, 1 3-star, and 2 2.5-star reads. The majority of my format of choice was audiobook, which is weird since I had such little amount. I had 5 of those. I had 4 ebooks. They were all my ARCs. I had the 1 physical read, which was 𝓚𝓲𝓲. For audience, I had 7 adult books and 2 young adult, and then there was the 1 middle grade book, which was the one that was set in Alice with a Y by Anna James, which was really fun. Very, very nostalgic to the original tale as well. And then for genres, we had 1 fantasy, 3 romantasy, 4 romance, and 2 paranormal. Does that add up? Yes, it does. So I was just like, where is Alice with Y? And I think that was the fantasy. So yeah, that is the whole list of stats that I'm tracking this year on these particular pages. I think this works so much better than previous year, and I'm going to stick with using these headers. They might not be exactly centered, but I am enjoying the process, and I am thinking of perhaps making some circle stickers so that I don't have to sort of figure out where to line this up. But at the same time, I have the stencil, so why not use it? And it's working fine enough. So yeah, the circles might not be the straightest or most spread out, but I'm happy with how this page looks in comparison to the page beside it. I think it's much more balanced. I'm looking at it right now, as I mentioned. I'm almost tempted to put a border around it, just like a purple line, just because it feels a little, I don't know, there's a little bit of white space still that needs to be filled in. And if you guys have been here long enough, you know that I am on sort of like a mission to fill in as much as possible in my journals. You may have seen earlier, maybe not because I flipped through it so fast, but on my first lines page in my February section, I had filled that to the brim. I actually went through when I finished writing out all the quotes. So the first lines is literally the first line of every book I read. whether I finish it or not in that particular month. And I saw that white space. I was like, right, I'm going to go find another quote from Mixed Signals and put that in there and filled it in. So there was no space left on that page, and I'm really enjoying that. So that'll be what I'll do from now on as well. But now we're almost done with this stats page, and I do have to apologize because, as you noticed, you didn't get to see me write down the genres section because I did not move the book up for the view, and I forgot that I was zoomed in. But I promise you at the very end here, I shifted up a little bit so you can see it. But that is this particular book done, and we're going to flip into our final book, which is the Gamifying Reading Journal. This one's new to me. This was an experiment. Is it an experiment? I think so. For this year, I wanted to have something that was just dedicated to readathons, and this is where I'm sticking everything in. So I have a few yearly readathons that I'm participating in, and I'm just sticking down the covers that I chose for them. Some of them I have not put a cover on because whilst I felt like I covered that particular prompt earlier in January, it was very like bare minimum. So I would like to find a better book before I print out the sticker. And if we get to the middle of the year and I still haven't done it, then I'll put the January one that I chose. But here is the last stickers I have to add to this journal. I'm really enjoying all the readathons that I'm participating in this year, and I'm also doing quite well with some of the other things. This is new. I actually went ahead off camera, and I do apologize. I should have filmed it, but I was just in this like mind space where I needed to just avoid having cameras out and just figure it out for myself. I actually went out and ripped out a whole bunch of pages from this book, and then I redid this page here, which I'm really excited about. And obviously because I ripped so many out, I had to put this sticker in the middle of the book to hold the page down. And then I have unfortunately had an issue with that pink pen. It had an air pocket in it, so you can see how it didn't work when I was setting up Readathon Bingo, which was February's particular monthly bingo, monthly readathon. And I am a little bit frustrated that the pen stopped working. It took a long time to get the air pocket out. I've never experienced that before, but it is now working, as you saw before. But it's just a shame that this page got a little bit messed up, but it still worked and I was able to fill it in. I do come back after and fill in some other... Oh no, I'm doing that right now, sorry. There were some that I filled in and then I had to think about it a little bit and come back to it as well. So that is this all set up and done, and we're now going to go into the final flip throughs. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I know for a fact that this is the weirdest voiceover I've ever done. I can promise you I am not on any weird medications. I'm just absolutely exhausted. This week has been, to put it mildly, shit. And we're coming through the other end of it. We're finding our feet. Personally, it was just a horrible week to have some bad news happen. And I've worked really hard to build up from it and find a solution, which we have. And now I have the unfortunate side effect of my chronic illness going, yeah, well, that was a lot of stress for us. And now we're going to flare up in every way possible and you're not going to sleep. So I am so sorry that I sound so sleep deprived, and therefore I don't even know how I sound right now. But please bear with me. I'm not normally like this if you're new. And until we next meet, I hope you have fun reading or journaling, and I will see you in my next video very, very soon. Thank you again. Bye, everyone.